Hey, all right. We got a lot going on today. There's just so much to talk about. I don't know. You were probably wondering, why is this nut job wearing a Trump jacket and a Trump hat and everything else? I am celebrating our president. I really think they should have allowed the president to come out at the end, like after Biden walked off. They should have let him come out at the end and done a little hat tip to the crowd, like, you know, they do like with ball players and stuff like that. It would have been really nice, if you ask me. If you were keeping score last night or over the last few months, Joe Biden has gone back and forth on what he's going to do with fracking and what he's going to do with oil and what he's going to do with fossil fuels. Okay, but I think he resoundingly made his case last night for what he's going to do. He's going to eliminate fossil fuels. Okay, and Rogan O'Hanley, otherwise known as DC Drano, friend of my good buddy Fog City Midge, tweeted this last night. Did Joe Biden seriously just say he'd get rid of our entire oil industry? And now his team, I guess, was out there trying to like do damage control on that. And Dinesh D'Souza weighed in. How does this transition away from the oil industry translate into ending oil subsidies? If this is what Biden meant, why did he say something completely different? And a member of his team said, Biden's team seeks to clarify his remarks on the oil industry, saying that Biden was referring to ending oil subsidies. Now, he didn't say, I'm going to be ending oil subsidies. He said, we're going to transition away from fossil fuels, which is the Green New Deal. Trains, planes, and automobiles are gone. And it seems to me that even CNN figured out that Joe said he's going to end the oil industry as we know it.
That may have been a misstep, Maggie, for Joe Biden. At least the Trump campaign thinks it is. So listen to this.
I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's
transition.
A big statement.
It is a big statement because I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
I see.
And here's the deal. But
That's
you
a
can't
big
do
statement.
that. Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies.
What did that moment mean, Maggie?
Look, I was going to point to that moment a few seconds ago. That was a moment that I think that Joe Biden might end up regretting, depending on, whether people believe that there is still enough time to suffer anything in this race. But I think that the Trump campaign already, from the folks I've heard from, pointing to that moment as something they hope to highlight in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania, places where this might resonate with voters. They think that it was an unforced error and that it is part of why they have been trying to force attention on Biden and what he will do in the coming years.
Resonate with voters? Are you out of your mind? This was a bullhorn last night to Pennsylvania and Ohio and all the coal mining states. Joe Biden wants to end the oil industry. Period. Stop. That's what he's saying. I'm going to end the oil industry as we know it. I'm going to get rid of government subsidies. There's about 5 million people in this country who rely on the oil industry for their job, especially in places like Ohio and places like Pennsylvania and places like Oklahoma, where oil and fossil fuels, and Texas, all those states are out of play as far as I'm concerned now. And Lindsey Graham even weighed in on this, right, in real time during the debate last night. Lindsey Graham tweeted this. Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham said Joe Biden lost Pennsylvania tonight by declaring war on the oil and gas industry. He said that in effect, Biden admitted he plans to destroy America's energy industry to comply with the hard left's Green New Deal. He's going to comply with the Green New Deal. And, SOT 7, I think Trump put it best. We finally got a straight answer. Kamala Harris has been saying all along, she's the primary sponsor of the Green New Deal. She's been saying all along, we're going to end fracking, we're going to end oil. Her and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the primary sponsor in the House of Representatives. So you got Ocasio-Cortez in the House you got Kamala Harris in the Senate, the two primary co-sponsors. They're both saying we got to end fossil fuels. And now finally, Joe's on board, and Trump put it into perfect perspective when he said this.
Today came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan, that his plan is an economic disaster. If you look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan, his environmental plan, you know who developed it? AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate. And they're all hopping through hoops for AOC +3. Look, their real plan costs $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen. And this wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. Right. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things. Okay. And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President respond, and we're running out of time, and we have a lot more questions to get to. So let's
want little tiny windows. I love the way Trump puts things into perspective. Putting things in perspective, last night my phone was going nuts through the debate. Everyone was texting me and calling me. Oh, did you see this? What about that? Johnny, say this tomorrow. My good buddy, Mike Burke, former first responder. What? You got the text? Former first responder. My buddy Mike Burke's a former first responder, okay? He's also a small business owner here in New York. He's retired from the fire department in New York. He worked through 9/11, okay? So this guy's a hero to begin with. And what set him off was last night Joe Biden was talking about how raising a federal minimum wage is going to help first responders. And to put it perfectly, Mike Burke, the proprietor of Danino's, some of the finest pizza in the world, former fireman, he said Biden was saying minimum wage affects first responders, which is BS. No first responders make minimum wage. So that was a lie. First responders don't make minimum wage, okay? And then Trump made a great point after that, that small businesses are dying right now, and raising the minimum wage is only going to hurt small businesses even more. So you have Biden lying, saying that, minimum wage is going to help first responders. And then you have Trump putting it real, okay? They're not going to help first responders. And by the way, businesses are getting killed right now. New York's a ghost town. And you want to raise the minimum wage, which is just going to put more pressure on small businesses that are going to go out of business. New York's too high already, Mike says, and especially for unskilled labor. But we'll get into that and more after this. Omekongo Dibinga, Democratic commentator and strategist, joins us to give us the blue perspective on last night's debate.